Wild Wings, and I got a kick after because it's like I got to see the customer service persona she puts on.
Yeah. Oh my God.
She
Yeah,
like the
that was.
waitress, and I got a kick out of it. I've
Yeah.
already seen yours. Like it's like it really is just like you go from your normal self to just like that plus, hey bud, how's the game?
Yeah. Yeah. I will lie. I will talk about stuff I don't care about. I will say
Yeah,
whatever to get some type of small talk out of you.
jumps down and slides down the hill. I see shots going above his head.
So she's like, oh, great, on her one day off, you're trying to romance this Pan Am chick. I'm like, honey, it's V, it's not me. Come on.
Brought back
Like,
some old
dude.
Catholic school memories, did it?
Oh man, yeah, you just okay, you know the DMV slaw?
I know you're going with
Yeah.
this.
This guy.
You're listening to On the Rewind.
You're listening to On the Rewind, 101.3 FM, Amherst Island Radio. You can catch us on all streaming platforms for your podcasts. Prefer Spotify, but that's just where we promote the most. Adam, how was your week?
See, they don't know that that took 3 tries to do, and it was perfect. Um, not too bad. We were just talking because we had to cut the last episode a little short. I had one thing that was kind of like the biggest part of my week that we never really talked about was the surprise birthday party.
The old man.
Yeah, no, turning 26 now. That was awesome. Especially good, yeah. I don't know, 25.
How does that feel? Just like knowing that you've hit the threshold of past halfway through your 20s.
Yeah, right. It's not good. It's not great.
Like, I
Feeling
didn't feel good about turning 25 in the first place.
yeah, right. Because 25, it's like, oh wow, it's the quarter, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I already don't like this, and now I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, 4 more years till I'm
Yeah.
30.
And the last 2 years of the pandemic, just like eating up like a good majority of like what was supposed to be the fun part of the 20s.
Yeah, like 23, 24. I'm like, oh, this is supposed to be like the best time.
Like
of
those
my
last
life.
couple of years, you're supposed to spend. Okay, I'm gonna hit the bar with the buddies, and then like you hit 25. It's like, okay, it's time to serious up about my career. It's like you never got the round that out.
Yeah, no, it
Or
was
I
just
did.
all seriousness all the time, which is just
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, no, the surprise party, it went great. Like I knew, just for a little context for everyone else, I got told that there was a girls' day happening, and
Yeah.
I pretty much just I didn't want to be in the house to begin with because I've dealt with enough girls' days that I just yeah, I'm just gonna go upstairs, play Minecraft or something like that. I don't want to be around. And then it was almost like a blessing because Cody asked me to help him and his brother lift up a motorcycle into their truck. So I'm like, beautiful. I'm down for it. They even offered to pay for dinner. I'm like, even better because, yeah, I was
That's
gonna.
where you should have known something was up, because both of them are stubborn enough. They would do it together. They probably would not invite the third unless it was like a bigger vehicle.
Yeah, see, and I was like, I was talking to some people. I'm like, it must be one heavy freaking bike.
I mean, bikes are heavy though.
Yeah, but like,
Usually, you get like a ram, like a ramp and bar, and then you move it on up. But
yeah. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm gonna hold this thing for one. Like, no, I was properly confused. I was just like, there has to be something that I don't know about bikes, and I kind of think that worked in their favor
yeah,
because I'm like, I don't know enough that yeah, I just said yes. I was actually still dealing with a little back pain, so I was like, it's gonna be a rough day afterwards, but whatever. Um, so yeah, we get there, and instantly his brother's like, "Hey, can't do the bike today. The insurance adjuster wants to deal with it first before we take it anywhere. So, let's still go to lunch. It's on me." I'm like, "Okay, this is kind of weird." And we get finished with lunch, and then they're like, hey, you want to go look at flooring? Because I'm getting my downstairs floor redone and all that. And I'm like, okay, you have no measurements. No measuring has been done. So we're just going to look at flooring, which is kind of weird. And it didn't really all set in until the car ride home because we were just listening to music. So I kind of had time to like kind of be in my own head about it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I wrote down in my notes and it's time stamped that I wrote down this is starting to feel like a surprise party because I didn't want to be pretentious and be like, "Oh my god, are you guys planning a surprise party for me?" And then nothing's happening because then it's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, no, you're real full of yourself, huh?" So I realized that we had done a whole lot of nothing the entire day. We had just kind of been doing nothing. Like I could have just stayed in bed for this, but yeah, and it's also funny that almost everything that I thought was fake was real, and everything that was real, or that I thought was real was fake. Like I had it
Yeah.
completely. I knew who the murderer was, but I think there's a fair going on when it's money. Like, yeah, I had none of the right clues. Still got to the same conclusion, but yeah. So I get home, and all of a sudden, everyone yells surprise, confetti goes, and I'm like, no way. And then I look down at the confetti and I'm like, that's gonna be a problem. Still finding confetti 2.5 weeks later. Yeah, I think I told you. I found it in the freezer.
In the freezer.
In the freezer. Yeah, I open up the freezer. I move a box of frozen shrimp that we haven't touched in like a month. I'm like,
Probably good to throw out now, bud.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'm like, oh, okay.
You
It's
know,
like,
poison the roommate.
um, that is not evidence. That does not work in court. Anyways, so
It's all alleged. It's all hearsay.
in GTA,
Dismissible.
um, yeah. So, anyways, it was cool. It was Peaky Blinders themed. We did betting slips and all that, and the girlfriend did it up real nice. She got pretty much a whole bar's worth of alcohol there. I was
You actually
kind of,
played bartend for a lot of us too.
yeah, yeah. It was kind of funny too, because like, God bless her, but I'm a vodka man at heart. That's pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I
Well,
don't
you know me.
mind.
I'm the dark rum and a lime.
Yep. Yeah, I can just ginger ale and vodka, and I'm set to go. Maybe a little lime juice. I'm having a great time, or a white claw. Always good to have a white claw. So but yeah, it was pretty sick. Made a bunch of Moscow mules, had a bunch of white claws, played Jack in the Box, and then watched a movie that I can't recommend enough to anyone listening, The Gentleman. Like beyond one of my favorite movies, done by Guy Ritchie, amazing director. Kind of almost, some might say like too handholdy or like pandering because he's all action all in your face all the time. But if you just want to turn off your brain and watch a movie and like do that guy chuckle to yourself when a car blows up, like, oh yeah, then his movies are always a good bet. Yeah. So, and one, thank you very much for coming. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I wanted to get the day off work, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have loved to be there. The yell surprise. I was like on like while I was working. I'm like messaging her. It's like, okay, you got the speaker right. And
To
like I'm like, man, I don't want to take over or anything like that. So I'm changing how I'm writing these messages because it's like, I don't know. I'm still getting used to talking to your partner outside of D&D.
oh, that's funny.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just like it's just it's like one of those things. It's like I don't know. After You ever have like one of those bad relationships, and it's like, and then you're like, well, now I just don't know how to talk to women.
Oh, that's funny.
I
Cause
had one
yeah,
of those, and so it's like, but like
yeah, I guess.
our other like Cody's partner is like in the clear because like I've known her for 10 years, more than that now,
Yeah,
and then my partner being my partner and stuff like that, she's just as weird as I am. But it's like one of those things. It's just like still getting the know, but I was just like, so I was changing. It's like you should, and I'm like, okay, you know what? That might become a little strong, and I overthink these things, so I turn that into like you could, right? Because I'm like, that's gonna read
yeah.
and I'm like, because I was trying to get her to play like the Peaky Blinders theme song as you walk in. I even like told her which song it was in case she didn't know.
Yeah, she had that already and then completely forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was literally sitting there on the table and she goes, oh, crap, 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 and then hits it. I'm like, it was still an awesome surprise. It was great to have everyone out there. It is funny you say that because, yeah, I have no problem sending memes and talking to Julia or Michaela.
well, it's like I'll
Yeah,
send names and stuff like that. It's just like there's certain people I can read very well, and
yeah,
then there's certain people I can't. And she's just one of those people. It's like I have a hard time reading because, and I think with folk that work a lot of like I don't know customer servicey jobs,
yeah,
like they get that like okay, I don't know if this is like just polite. Like it was funny. Like we were at the Wild Wings, and I got a kick after because it's like I got to see the customer service persona she puts on.
yeah. Oh my God.
She
Yeah,
like the
that was,
waitress, and I got a kick out of it. I've
yeah,
already seen yours. Like it's like it really is just like you go from your normal self to just like that plus, hey bud, how's the game?
yeah, yeah. I will lie. I will talk about stuff I don't care about. I will say
Yeah,
whatever to get some type of small talk out of you. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it was funny to watch her do that. Plus she is notoriously hard to read.
yeah,
Yeah. You're not the first person to say that. It's kind of funny.
yeah.
It's
But
cool to hear
that
people's.
aside, I think I started losing my touch of reading people. I think I've gotten to that slipped into that habit of like too trusting again. I gotta pull myself out of that. Like not saying with our group,
Yeah.
but just in general out of interactions. It's like I too commonly take people at their word.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm assuming you're talking about mostly online as well.
Not just online, just like in person with people I meet, coworkers, that sort of thing. Like I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
I gotta stop being as trusting as I am and like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually deal with that quite a bit at work too, where like I don't know, mostly because I'm the boss's son.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like um
No, that's kind of a you're gonna have to blurb that. That's
yeah, I
one of the
know
five
it's
no words.
um but
There's
yeah.
a lot of brown nosing.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I ain't too
Yeah.
good with words. Um
Well, I can wordplay all day. It's just trying to get it out of the mouth in a coherent enough mess.
yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of that and there's a lot of like for such a small store, there's a lot of like rumors happening, a lot of talking behind people's
Smaller the
backs.
location in this, and like the smaller the crew, like
Yeah.
the more of a fire I find there is with all that stuff. Right?
Yeah, cuz like I
Like,
came from Metro in Napanee and I thought that was bad cuz like all the departments were against each other and also inside
yeah.
those departments they were against each other and
Yeah, it's like it's
yeah.
almost like in those environments, it's like one of my partner's friends used to work as an assistant to the manager at a Walmart, and I think Belleville at the time. She's moved on to better things, thankfully. But like, listen to her and stuff like that, and like I remember having a conversation with her. It's like, look, all those jobs, especially when you're working your way up into management, it's a Shark Tank. Everyone's trying to because she was like people like act like other managers actively sabotaging other managers to try and get promotions and stuff like that.
Yep.
What she was seeing firsthand, and like it was a war. She had to pick a side and stuff like that, and just like it was like I'm like, yeah, no, it's more dog eat dog than people realize. It's just with a different coat of paint.
Yeah, you can't just go to work anymore. You have to
No, no,
go
it's
into
and
this
that's the thing is
social.
like you want like I would love for our buddy's business to take off and like to the point where it's like he could just hire me and his buddies and we could all just like get the job done
Yeah.
and worry about the end of the day or whatever. That'd be great. But at the end of the day, it's like unfortunately there's not enough work out there
No.
right now, especially with the recession and everything else like that hitting and like I made like I still kick myself in the butt for leaving. Like I had the how it was either take this job offer or move or go or you can go on your own way.
Are
Part
you
of me
talking
is
about?
looking back. Yeah, but like when I went from like the welding position, they didn't need me as a welder anymore, but they wanted to have me around.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I was just kind of like, I came here to be a welder though
Yeah.
mentality. I'm like, man, if I had taken that other job, I'd be making 5 more an hour than I already am, and then an additional 2 by now. And I'm like, uh, going from like making above like the living wage to making under the living wage is like, does that jump?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't do your job that you're doing right now. Well,
It's
the
actually
the
with the it's more or less the rotating hours. That's kind of like
yeah. No thanks,
that
man.
like
God bless you.
day shift is nicer because at the end of the day, like I can talk to all you guys in the in the evening, and we can go play whatever, we can go hang out, kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? As long as you're not working that day. But even on the days that you guys have off, I'm working the overnights now, and it's just kind of like, yeah, social life, yeah, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's been rough. It's funny I'm saying that, not even working them. But yeah. Nah, it's a stepping stone. So,
Yeah, it
yeah, we'll
is
get
what it
through
is for
that.
now, and then
Like I said, I'm gonna make enough money that you'll be my muse.
yeah, is that the idea? You're gonna be a famous film director or something, and then you're gonna start making me act.
Yeah, no, you'll just be on a pedestal, just in the living room.
Oh,
Just yeah, I'll have like a window shining light on you all the time. One of those is like little leaves over your crotch. We'll be good.
yeah, no, I'm wearing more clothes than that, buddy. I'm not that comfortable with my body. I don't even like looking down at me shirtless.
Oh man.
I'm the guy that
Um.
wears a t-shirt to a pool party.
Oh, speaking of muses and all that sort of stuff, something that was like a big inspiration with how I've kind of run half the creative side of this show was the bonfire on
Yeah,
Sirius XM Faction Talk with Dan Soder
yeah.
and Big J Okerson. I don't know if you've
Hmm.
heard, but Dan Soder, after 8 years of the bonfire, has left.
Really?
Yeah, on good terms. On good terms. It's been a year in the making. He thought that they would maybe make it 3 years, maximum five. And yeah, it's 8 years still going strong. So he wants to branch out and do cartoons and write a bunch of stuff and get more into that. And Big J Okerson kind of wants to pretty much be like pretty big in podcasting, wants to take that as far as he can take it.
Yeah,
Um, and they got a replacement already, and it is Robert Kelly or Bobby Kelly.
Bobby Kelly.
Yeah, as soon as
Sounds
you
familiar, but I'm gonna have to look him up here. But you go ahead and keep going on about that.
yeah, it's funny. When you see him, you won't. Well, I didn't anyways recognize him. As soon as you hear his voice, then you're like, okay, yeah, I know who he is. Pretty funny guy, a little bit older. It's gonna be kind of weird to have that different dynamic going in now because it's two fathers talking instead of like just kind of Dan Siller's like kind of a man child in the best way. Like still plays video games and all that, and like has a girlfriend and his dog Myrtle and stuff like that. So it's gonna be interesting.
He has a book.
He has a book, Bobby Kelly.
Yeah,
Really?
It's called Cheat: A Man's Guide to Infidelity.
That's hilarious. That's actually really funny. Yeah, he looks funny, man. I don't know. Yeah, just every single time he has the real estate smile where he has the exact same smile anytime
Yeah.
he takes a photo. He just strikes that pose and just all the wrinkles are set in his face to do the exact same smile all the time. And yeah, I kind of love it. But yeah, so that was just kind of
Oh man, I
news.
don't want to get into it on this guy, but I'm just looking at some of the photos of this man. I'm just like, I can't help but look at him and picture him without eyebrows.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, anyone listening, look up Bobby Kelly. He's a character. I kind of wish I didn't look at him because now I
Yeah.
think about him when I hear his voice. But yeah, he's a different dude. He's
Yeah.
cool though.
Yeah, so
Um,
podcast that I actually kind of inspired, like the format of what we got, is a combination of a couple. So
okay,
I like some of the game news ones, but the one
yeah,
that like, so these are YouTubers I watched when we were in elementary school. Like they were on like the machinima stuff. Eventually had their own channel. Eventually
okay,
that group fell apart, and then they ended up with their own independent ones. But two of the guys kept the podcast going. Out of like the eventually that had, I think we had 4 people on it at one point.
okay. Who was it?
Is it's the Super Best Friends podcast that is now morphed into the Super Castle Beast. So they have that, like they talk about their weeks. They have the format of the, and then they go into some gaming news, and then they answer a question at the end. We have a slightly different, change it 10%. We answer the question in the middle if we got one.
Yeah,
But
it's funny.
no, it's just like it was just kind of like, and so when you pitched this whole radio show to me, it's just like, but they wanted a talk show. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, we could just ramble on. So yeah, it's like all of the podcasts end up kind of being the same thing, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
But it's the personalities and the formula and the topics and just the engagement with the community that you develop. So yeah, speaking of community engagement, feel free to hit us up on the socials. Send those questions in. We've been, well, I'm not batting an eye at the people that have been sending questions in. It's usually about the same 5 people. We appreciate you guys.
Oh,
Little
I
shout
love
out
it.
to you guys.
Yeah, kind of gets us away from like the regular format that we're dealing with, and kind of
Yeah.
forces one of us to think on our feet because the other one always knows the question beforehand. But even with me, I usually
I don't know.
forget
I
it.
got enough ADD in me. I can look at the question
To
down and then be trying to come up with an answer after.
uh,
I just vetted it's appropriate.
um. Oh yeah, and speaking of, just to kind of wrap up the bonfire, Dan Soder does a bunch of voices. He's
Yeah.
really good, and they tried to do something that I we don't have enough crew, as in it's just you and I.
Yeah.
But this would be the most fun to do, where there's one guy that can do a bunch of voices. He's leaving, so we have to um get someone else to do the voice. So they went through every single person trying to see who would do like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, and like every other voice that he can do. He could do Macho Man, he can do
Yeah.
like Latino girlfriend and all that. And if anyone has watched it, or sorry, listened to the bonfire, or just wants to kind of see what it's like, Dan Soder's Vocal Academy, by far the funniest episode ever. It's a great way how they ended his reign on the show. And yeah, even
That's an
yeah,
interesting choice of words. Rain.
yeah, I know, right? As soon as it came out, it kind of stumbled because I'm like, oh god, sounds like he was a dictator. Um, but yeah, yeah. So it was a sad moment, but I'm excited to see what's to come. It's kind of funny. Yeah, I know it doesn't work this way, but we're now on longer in time than they are. So,
Yeah.
oh, so a game that I've been looking at and then I
Yeah.
got is called Backbone. Maybe
Okay.
look
Tell
that
me a
up.
little bit about it. Yeah, I'll be looking it up, but you go ahead and tell me a bit about it.
So it's kind of, I thought what it was like a click adventure where it's like, oh, you take the toilet paper and then you combine the toilet paper with water and then you make a mask to like deal with the gas or something like that. I was
Yeah, it looks
yeah,
very cool pixel art. Almost pixel art. It's pixel art, and no, it's like what 32-bit
yep,
would be
yeah,
because it's more. It's definitely more than 16-bit. It looks like about a 32-bit
yep,
kind of art style there.
yeah. It was marketed very differently than what it actually was. It's been in my wish list forever, and then I for some reason I just wanted to buy it, so I did. And it took about a day and a half to beat for $30, which is kind of iffy for me. Um, and
Well, inflation rates that you got your money's worth.
yeah, I know. I don't know. I'm still the guy that waits till it's like $12 for a full
Look,
AAA
most
game.
things with digital releases now are early access to get things cheaper in early access. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's very. It's not like you go into EB Games and or GameStop and you go to the discount bin and pick out like 3 games and like you're set for the month for like $15 anymore.
Yeah, I know. I just want those times again.
Yeah.
Um, so this isn't really going to be a great review of it because I'm actually kind of not impressed. Um, Tons of text. Didn't really show that in the trailers too well, or at least the ones that they showed on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
And this, sorry,
I was just giving you the to
yeah,
you know keep
um,
going.
yeah, and the story kind of goes off in a very sci-fi esque way that it did not need to go in. It almost was like they had all these ideas on a pinboard that didn't really go together, but they just stretched it as far as they can so it kind of links up and then abruptly ends. And they do a prequel, or sorry, epilogue, and kind of be like, oh yeah, like so this is kind of like happening. It's gonna like wrap up this story that like the beginning of the game was about. And like, just spoiler warning for anyone. I'm gonna make sure I write that down so I don't accidentally not have the spoiler warning in there. Um, it's all about animals being like humans in a dystopian New York, Vancouver. And the whole premise of the game is they think that inside this city with these walls is all that's left. And there's a racial hierarchy based on what animal you are. So, like, birds and geese and all that are at the very lowest. And then you have like raccoons that are pretty much like anything that right now as humans we're like, oh, those are like bottom feeders, are bottom feeders in this society. And the very top of the top are apes and bears and stuff like that because they're like the dominant predators in society. And the whole premise of the game at the start is talking about how, oh no, these apes aren't eating just leaves and vegetables. They're actually eating other people, which is exactly how like bears and wolves would actually eat in the wild, right? They eat meat
Yeah.
as well as like herbs and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's like it's a really interesting thing where it's like, oh my god, these people are being murdered at this nightclub and like they're feeding them to like the higher up society and it's like that's so cool. that's so interesting to me. It's like, okay, yeah, I'd love to like dive into this and be like the detective and like try and figure out how to bring them down. And then randomly, I'm not even kidding, it jumps to, oh yeah, we're into this science building and we found out that there's this weird goo that makes like man otters and stuff and like splices genes together. And then you're in the containment and the thing breaks through the glass and then becomes a part of you and then you're losing your mind and going homeless. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I tell me how we got there. I don't know, cuz it threw me for a loop. I was actually kind of enjoying myself. It was a little, they don't have enough music playing while you're reading like pages upon pages of text. It's kind of just pure silence. But it was still kind of captivating for a little bit. And then all of a sudden it's like you had uh you had two starts and you tried to make one start the ending and it's just not making sense at all. Um, so kind of disappointed because it looked like it could actually go somewhere, and it just never kind of met up to. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe it just
Is that one of those games with multiple endings, or is it just that's how it is?
not just how it is.
Okay.
Yeah, you it shows at the end you're walking, and then in the distance there is old cities, our cities, like humans,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be like, yeah, we must have made the animals. That's what this the weird thing is. It's like that's
Okay.
why there's man raccoons and stuff like that because of this weird thing. And it's like, I don't know.
It
Have you?
okay, so it went in a weird twist of like, yeah, the predators are eating other animals in a
Yeah,
sense, and but also try to tell a story about how, yeah, human, but you're still derivative of humans. It's not like a universe where animals are just people,
yeah, and
and
like
there's a process that happened.
yeah, and like it's a very sci-fi process that happened, and like at the start, it's almost comical but gruesome because they're like in this society, like we know when we see a wolf, we're like, yeah, a wolf eats meat. But then it comes out that like, what do you mean? What do you mean a wolf eats meat? Well, like meat is us. And it's a talking cow being like, what do you mean? And it's like, I like it. I was kind of on board for that. And then it like kind of cut it right at the nip and then just kept going. Have you ever had a game like that where your expectations, it's not the developer's fault, but your expectations were like much higher and it never really lived up?
Yeah, I'm gonna say something, and it's funny because it's still like a game I like to play,
Yeah.
but Dying Light 2.
Really?
Because if you looked at what we were advertised,
Okay.
and,
Yeah.
and then you look at what we got, they had the gameplay mechanics and everything else down, but they had to rewrite the story because the previous writer got caught in a no situation. So they
Yeah.
hired a like a second writer to rewrite the story like it was one of his stories. So you got a
Yeah.
watered down version of what was supposed to be Dying Light 2, story wise.
Yeah. And as much as I do love the game, it was supposed to acknowledge that Dying Light 1 was an amazing game, except the story was kind of meh. And they were like, nope, we reworked the whole thing so the story's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. And we're still going to have the amazing climbing mechanics that you loved. And we got the amazing mechanics, but still kind of like hollow characters. And
Yeah, and the characters were they hired like a phenomenal writer to begin with,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't even know if the accusations came to fruition. But you know how society is, like you get accused of something, then
that takes about
people
half a
don't want the
year.
heat.
Yeah. half a year for anything to come out, and
Yeah,
then it's a crapshoot if you actually get hired on
it's
again.
like that.
Yeah,
You know the Netflix show, the Ranch.
I have heard of it. Yeah, I
All
didn't
right.
watch it
Well,
yet.
there's some casts from the '70s show in there, and essentially, I think after like season 4, one of the actors there, he got accused. Now, he said he's taking it to court. I don't know of anything that's come up with it, but there's been
Yeah,
no definitive, yeah, he did it, or he's been sent to prison or jail or anything like that.
yeah.
But he's now out of a job.
I probably won't get one for
Yeah. Until,
a.
there's a public acknowledgement, no, that was a false accusation. Or if it turns out that it was real, then he really won't get anywhere.
Oh
But,
God, no.
like, the show, the second the accusation hit, cut him out. They wrote him out as maybe he's dead, maybe he's alive. He was in a motorcycle accident and they couldn't find the body immediately as the accusation happened.
I love it. You
So it's
gotta
just like,
wonder. You gotta wonder if they have those pre-written nowadays. Just no matter what. Like
yeah.
I actually have one for you. If an accusation comes on, I have a little news blurb I'm gonna read.
Oh jeez.
Derek was
I don't even want to know.
skydiving.
I don't even want to know.
But yeah, I don't know. I guarantee you somewhere there's a file of just like the Last of Us. It's just like, oh, Ellie died. Oh no, but look at this. There's
Oh,
Emily
they already.
now.
Oh, do you know what happens in the second game?
I think doesn't she?
No,
Doesn't
Ellie's
she
still
die?
alive.
I know Joel dies.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah. But no, that's
Spoiler
why it'd be
warning. A little
funnier.
late, but yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, okay. Well, man, I gotta write that down. 1 minute. Okay, 37. All right. Yeah. So,
Because it's like it's an old enough game, but now that they're doing the TV show, it's kind of
oh
like it
yeah.
reactivates the. Speaking of which, have you been watching the TV show?
Nope. Still
Oh
very,
man, I want
very
to go to
cheap
Spider
bastard.
Cast with you, man. Come on, get
Yeah.
on it.
I'm cheap. You know this. It's been like a year, and I'm finally seriously saving up for a PC.
Okay. Oh, you're serious? Okay.
Yeah, actually
Nerd talk.
serious.
What are you looking at? What's the specs? Oh
Um.
boy, come on.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Give me the gigahertz. Give me the cores. All of it.
Okay. Cool. 3 monitors. That's.
That's excessive.
I know it is, but I have been entranced. And if you want me to get a PC upgrade, I'm getting 3 monitors.
See,
Huh.
the thing is, what you do is you get
Huh.
one good gaming monitor, and then you get one production monitor. That's all you need.
Mm-mm.
But you're gonna
Nope.
have videos. You're gonna have something processing or editing on one, your game running on another, and then Netflix or something.
Yep. I don't care. I'm gonna be checking emails.
All you need to do is 2 monitors, maybe throw a TV in the room, hook up your old PlayStation to it, and then run the Netflix off that.
Nope. I'm having
Okay.
3.
All
I
right,
don't
all
care.
right. You do you. It's your money. Okay. But,
Yeah.
okay. And into the itty gritties. What graphic?
Oh,
If you're doing a 3 monitor setup, you're probably looking somewhere towards the high end 30s or even the 40 series. Then.
yeah. I built it on PC Part Picker and then it deleted itself. So I'll just probably get something fixed and
Okay.
then
Let me
send
ask
it
you
to
this:
you.
Intel or Ryzen?
Ryzen.
Good. Because if you're gonna be
Yes.
multitasking, you want a Ryzen.
I am not writing that down. Okay. Right. How do you spell Ryzen?
RYZEN.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So it's funny. I bought a new.
They actually got the 7000 series coming out, which is the latest issue of the CPUs.
Jesus. Oh, actually, yeah. You know what? Because I have been watching Linus Tech Tips and all that sort of stuff to kind of get prepped. How this all started is I bought a new mouse because my mouse with Minecraft, it was cutting off.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while it would just stop working. So I did a bunch of research and I figured out that like I bought the top of the line wireless mouse. And cuz back when I first did my computer in 2015, it was like no, never get a wireless mouse cuz the latency is awful. And now they've actually put in enough like tech into it that you like it's not even milliseconds, it's like point something of a
Yeah, it's like the
millisecond
same
off.
latency as a wireless controller for PlayStation.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, yeah, no, it's perfect. But as soon as I bought a new piece of hardware, I was like, I want to keep going with this. It's like whenever I get a tattoo, I want to keep going.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ooh,
You
you
know
know
how
how
many times I'm like, well, I should probably save up in case I need to repair the vehicle, get enough money to where it's like if something happens, I can fix up the vehicle. And
yeah,
then I'm like, but a tattoo though. No, no, no.
yeah, yeah. And that's usually what would happen is I'd be like, oh, and then all of a sudden I see something cool on Instagram. I'm like, well, I'm getting that on my body now, and I'd send the message, and then it's done. Can't do it, or can't undo it. Sorry. So yeah, that and plus, really, anytime I got like really quite a bit of extra change, I would just get more camera parts. But right now, I'm pretty set for what I want.
Yeah,
Anything I'm doing now is just replacing what I already have.
yeah.
Um, So yeah. Once I do redo my PC part picker, I'll send it to you and the whole group, and we'll check her out. I am not backing down on three monitors though. You know how
Yeah,
cool some of those.
you might want to like a 40 series then for the GPU, which are the newest and most expensive ones, but like two monitors and like gaming and production, you can get away with the 30. I
Yeah,
feel like,
like
and still
and
be playing your games on like high settings. But like
oh yeah,
if you're gonna be running like three different main things, because rendering that's gonna hit the GPU and the CPU, you got to keep that in mind. And then you
yeah,
got if you're multitasking another thing like watching a show, because like I very commonly have a game running and a show and a show running.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm ADD, and that's how I keep my brain going.
yeah. And I want to do that. Also, I want to check emails at the same time. I don't know. I'm not gonna be
Well, you
one of
can
those
check emails on the
guys.
second monitor.
I'm not gonna be one of those guys that games with all three monitors. Like the FOV is on either side. Like that's nuts to me. I don't need that. I just
Well,
want to be
yeah.
surrounded.
My partner's brother got this really they got one of those ultra wide monitors
Yeah.
that's like the span of three monitors.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
just
those
one monitor.
yeah, I those are okay. It's just it'd be weird to me to like just section off like what I have right now in the middle of
Yeah,
that monitor to game on because I don't want it that wide.
yeah.
Yeah, it just
But
I
like the
like when
games
I'm
that
like,
support that ultra wide, the FOV looks so nice. Like you get so much
oh
more
yeah.
information and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you know how
And
nice it
you
would
just
be
get
to
to see
have
like a very nice instead of having like a little box of seeing the horizon, you have
yeah.
almost like a window into the oh
Yeah,
a
43.
window
All
into
right.
like the scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Um, you know how nice that would be on Ghost Recon?
You know how good it looks on Cyberpunk?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Cyberpunk. Also, that reminds me. The whole reason, also, well, not the whole reason, but you know me, a very very big part of the reason is I see all those cool three monitor wallpapers. Oh, oh, you know.
Really? That's what does it for you?
Oh my God, man! You know how sick that is, and if I get a good enough upgrade, I can have an animated one. Can have an animated three monitor wallpaper.
Yeah. You do definitely want to bump up the CPU if you're gonna have animated stuff going on just the wallpaper though.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, I do.
I got into so much like custom like wallpaper stuff. Like I had like three different programs running, and like so I had like this wolf that had like that was holding like this eye that would open and close, and around the wolf's head, I had a sound thing. So when music was playing or any sound, if I had it on the other monitor or whatever, or
Yeah.
minimized it, you could see like the sound scales, like the equalizer bars.
Yep.
But it was in a circle around the wolf's head, blending in with the environment.
Yeah. See that. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
its
I want
bottom paw
PC that.
had like a clock and time and everything else like that. And I had a really cool looking setup, but like it took a lot of bandwidth
Oh yeah.
of the
Oh yeah.
resources. So
Just sitting there idle. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah,
like you
I
know how when your computer is idle, your graphics card should not be making sounds
yeah.
with the fans. Idle, my computer is
Yeah.
making sounds with the graphics card.
That's really funny. Um, but yeah, yeah. So I don't know. That's a little bit of the PC. Um, okay, yeah, we're getting pretty late. I'm going to save some stuff because there is a game that I want to suggest for you and Julia.
Okay.
It's called Knights and Bikes. We can talk about it next episode because Kayla and I have just kind of dipped our toes into it. Kind of want to see where it's
Okay.
going. It kind of seems very, very interesting, but also so did Backbone, and I've kind of
Okay. Now is that
been
like a
burned.
PS5 exclusive or?
Don't think so. I think it's whatever console you'd like, but don't hold me to that. The art style's pretty cool. Story's a
Oh yeah,
little,
it's on just about everything there.
yeah. Try it out. Yeah, I love it. But you can local play too. So yeah, we'll talk about that next episode
You
because
want to
yeah, I
talk
want
about
to get
that in the
into that.
extended, or are we gonna wrap it up into a shorter episode this week?
Not a 55, but once we start getting to like the hour and 20 with my PC now, it's like it's taking a lot. So
Okay.
I want to hear about your week because we don't talk enough anymore, and you hate me. So I want to hear how's your week been going.
The week, honestly, with the shifts, days blur together until it's the weekend.
Yeah.
Because it's more or less like it's a very sad existence in the sense of, you get up, you get a couple hours before work, if that. I've been sleeping in a bit more. Like the first couple weeks where they had me on the afternoon shifts, man, I was up early, or I was taking care of things I need to do and whatnot. And now it's just like, oh, it's noon. Okay, well, I don't have to get up for another hour. And then I get home, and then I'm like, well, I gotta stay up until 3 because they might rotate me to where I have to be working till 3. And whether they
Oh,
do,
they don't.
yeah. So sometimes it's like 3 to 11,
Yeah.
and that's the same day. And then like this upcoming week here, like I'm working from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Ah.
And then those are the shifts where, like, okay, well, I started Monday. It's Tuesday. Now it's like I'm home. I've ate. I've showered. It's 4 in the morning on a Tuesday, and then it's like, all right, I guess it's bedtime.
Damn, 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 damn.
Yeah. No, that's weeks. Yeah, but I did dabble in, which is going to lead into our next little bit here about the Plus and the Xbox Game Pass here. I did dabble it into Atomic Heart with the Game Pass there on the PC.
And how did you like it?
It's an interesting concept of the story. I
Yeah.
it very much is obvious that's made by Russian developers.
I've heard this, yeah.
Yeah, it is very blatant, comrade. um, but it's funny with how far along like AI is all progressing and everything else like that, and like it's getting a little scary with some of the AI how far that's developing. That like if you start digging into how far along certain of these things are that aren't public access, yeah,
Yeah.
a little spooky. Um, However, gameplay, it's all right. It's your standard, like, you get a gun, ammo's a little bit more scarce, but
Yeah.
you have some other toys in your arsenal. Maybe ammo gets a little bit less scarce. It has like a recipe and crafting and buying thing, so I guess like if you save up and you want to use the guns, you can focus on that. But yeah, so it's got like a little bit of customization to like some of the weapons. For instance, like the axe, you can level up a tree. It changes like your heavy attack from like a whirlwind or like a straight or a very heavy attack. So
Okay.
so there's like you can like the weapons are modular.
Okay.
Um and it's very gamey, if you know what I mean. Like there's like, oh, this one's about to do a heavy attack that's gonna knock you on the ground, so its fist is glowing red.
Oh, okay. So yeah, very like, yeah, not
But a very
too heavy on the
beautiful like
brain.
art style. Like it's not like there's no health bars or nothing, but I haven't gotten to a boss fight yet. I know there is boss fights.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of that.
I haven't like I saw. Oh, they had uh Dean from Supernatural. I forget the actor's name. Is like Jensen or something like that.
I'll never know. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but he was in the trailer for it. You know,
Oh,
he's also the guy that plays like the Captain America knockoff in The Boys.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, he definitely carried that persona over for the trailer for Atomic Heart.
I love it.
And it's funny, they did a little jab at Hogwarts Legacy with the trailer.
Really?
Yeah, so they had this little girl with like a very like obvious wizard hat and a stick, like pointing at the robot, yelling things. It's like, I don't know how I'm gonna take down the robot. And then you just have him walk into the frame. Is like, I'll show you how.
Oh, I
And take
love
like
it.
the bat with the saw blades that you get later in the game to
Nice.
some dummy robots. And they get all covered in blue goo, which is supposed to be like the robot blood or whatever. But yeah,
Okay, yeah. I watched Alita Battle Angel, and yeah, any cyborg had the blue goo that's blood.
yeah. It's
I think it's
always it's,
white in
it's always blue.
Cyberpunk.
It's either blue or white for robots,
Yeah.
and then orcs bleed green or blue, and then humans is either red or black.
Oof.
You know, some of
Um,
those bad movies where it's like, yeah, that's not even red, that's just black.
yeah, it is
Tinge.
funny. I don't know. I don't think I talked about it on the podcast, but there was a movie where the director really wanted blood, like real blood. So the guys I was working with, they went to a butcher shop and got pig's blood,
Yeah, that's
and
the common one.
yeah, and it was super cold out in there. Like, you're not gonna like it. And he like pretty much cursed them out. Said, no, do it. I just said to. So they pour it all over, and
They
apparently
congeal.
our it like got bright fluorescent pink. Like fluorescent pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
it's
like,
funny.
I don't think like honestly, I think the closest thing you're gonna get to like a human blood color, because it's the oxygen contents in the blood, right?
Yeah.
Causes
Oh,
colorization.
and all right, that's going to do it for our Amherst Island radio broadcast on 101.3 FM. If you'd like to catch the extended edition of today's episode, go over to Spotify or anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. Thank you very much. I'm Adam, and this is Derek,
Yeah.
and we will catch you next Thursday. Sorry, every other Thursday. Bye.
Welcome back to On the Rewind.
Okay, and welcome back to the extended edition of On the Rewind. All right, so sorry to cut you off.
The podcast, like wherever you get your podcast. I remember the first time, I'm like, yeah, but we're everywhere. You're like, what?
Yeah, I know. I was like, yeah, we're on Spotify, right? It's like, yeah, but like, and also 5 other places. What are you doing? It's like,
Apple
okay,
Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, everywhere. We're everywhere.
Perfect. So yeah, sorry. The oxygen content in blood is the
Yeah, I think. Well, that's what causes the colorization, right?
yeah.
And so,
So
I think honestly, just from like coming from a hunter's family, deer blood, I think is gonna be the most. If you wanted real blood, is the best one you're gonna get for getting close
special
to that
effects.
human effect look.
Yeah, because and as soon as you said our blood is either like red or black in like video games and stuff like that or movies, I thought of Evil Dead, where it's like you can barely tell that it's red unless it's like just the faintest little covering, but like anytime it's coming out of someone's mouth, it's just black.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gross. But
It's okay. Elves bleed pink.
so yeah, so are you going to finish Atomic Heart, or is it just was it
It's something
something?
I'm kind of just dabbling in. I have
Yeah.
a like. I still need to beat Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I still haven't even like recorded like the like I've tried to record the third one, but I've just had like there's so many needs for like updates on the PC side for that I'm just been waiting for a driver update. Now there's been enough updates. Probably gonna get to probably recording the next session next weekend
Yeah.
and start pumping those out.
Like, was that on your side or was that on Hogwarts Legacy side that you
It
needed
could be
updates?
both. Like I'm running like it's not like I'm running like the 40 generation of GPUs. So I'm running a 3080, which
Yeah.
essentially with the CPU I got pretty much guaranteed to run ultra anything at the resolution that I'm on right now. I'm not running things at like 4K. I'm only running things at like 1440p. So I should at
Yeah.
least be getting well above 60 FPS for consistent, recording. But like
Yeah.
it's not just me. A lot of people are having a lot of stuttering issues. But if you ran
Oh,
it on the
damn.
low end spec, then yeah, you're fine. But
Yeah, but come on. Yeah, you want that crispness.
yeah, well, the big thing is like, man, I got one of these cards so I could have the ray tracing, and I want the ray tracing with all the spell lights and colors. It's the
See,
whole
and that
gimmick.
is yeah, that is kind of why I'm like
Yeah, the
that's
40
why
series
I
handles it a lot
stopped.
better, and with the 40 series that you're getting, you'll have DLS S3, which
Yeah.
is an upgraded to their AI system. So essentially, things that are farther away will be in a smaller resolution, but you won't be able to tell the difference because you know how far away it is. And then
Smart.
the closer it is, the bigger the resolution it is.
Nice. Yeah, that whole that's kind of the whole reason I like stepped away from PC to PS4 for a bit because I got a game that was like I was really excited for, and then it barely run well unless it was on low on my PC. So I was like,
But now they
just
got this thing that, like, even if you're on a low spec computer, AMD
yeah,
FSR, which is
yeah,
is usable on the NVIDIA graphics cards and everything else like that. It's this way of scaling it. It doesn't look the prettiest,
yeah,
um, but essentially makes all these games playable on older hardware.
yeah. But yeah, hopefully that won't be an issue anymore
Yeah.
on my 3 monitors.
All
Anyways,
right. So
so
was there any news stories you wanted to touch on?
I think we wanted to talk a little bit about the new PS Plus games that
Okay,
are
yeah, we
out.
wanted to touch dabble on the Xbox and the Plus. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I know for PS Plus, one second, it's the newest Battlefield is out, the 2047.
Yeah.
Is that yeah? Yeah, so that's out, and then a few others. I think it was Evil. Oh, Code Vein, which is PS4, and then Minecraft Dungeons, which do you know what that is?
It's a Diablo knockoff using Minecraft.
No way.
Yeah.
Jeez. No, that wasn't an excited no way. It's like, come on. You,
Oh, I think it's
Minecraft's
supposed to be like
already.
a roguelike dungeon crawling thing. It's like, well, it's a loot grind
Yeah,
with a
I
bunch of
don't know.
visual effects using Minecraft like textures.
Yeah, Minecraft's already perfect, don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean, we started a little own server with our group of or code or our buddy started a server for all of us to get into, and yeah, we started making. We have another portal. I don't think like, I talked to him. He hasn't even gone into the Nether. Just
really?
say, yeah, he just made the
Oh
portal.
yeah. Yeah, no, I've gone in quite a bit because I had to get the roof for my nether brick.
Yeah.
Um, it's so funny. I got my partner into it,
Oh,
and
I wanted to touch on that on this show.
yeah,
Um,
it's like
so I
gone downhill, man.
recall all of us being on a Discord call and her saying nerds,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and yeah, now
And it
now
was
now
worse
she's the
off of
nerd.
Discord. Yeah, it was much worse off of Discord. She was like,
Oh,
"Oh my god, you guys are so nerdy." I'm like, "Oh yeah, all right." And then it was like,
you
"Oh, you
should have
guys are
grabbed
all
your D
hanging
and D
out."
dice and just really
Yeah,
we're
it's
nerdy.
like, yeah. No, it was funny because like all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we all hung out today for like 4 hours, and you were just sitting there reading a book. So she got like jealous and then wanted to hang out, and all of a sudden she started her little A-frame house, and it's just you do you know South Park that they're making fun of WoW players or League of Legends players?
Okay,
The guy with his chair all the way back and his keyboard on his belly.
yeah,
Yeah, that was her. I came home one day and she was like all lounged out with the MacBook and like on her belly, and she got this I picked her up a new Razer mouse and all that. And
yeah.
yeah, it was great. I
Are
loved
you
it.
gonna fix up your old computer for her to start gaming on?
I don't know. She doesn't really like if she
He just
wants to
needs the
game.
opportunity, and then she'll be right there with you and the boys and the girls. We got enough. We
Yeah.
got enough of the mix. All we our entire group is couples of gamers.
Like she's a very, very low level gamer. Mostly it gets her like way too pissed off when she actually tries. That's why Minecraft is nice. Like she likes
Well,
some
that's where I'm thinking
Luigi's
like it's gonna be like
Mansion.
more like co-op based experience. Like I was thinking like another good game that she might end up liking would be the Fallout 76. That's one that my partner ended up really liking. Just a little bit of house building. You're go killing mobs together, and then you're knocking out a couple of these quests and doing these events, and then you're also looting and fighting cool things and building a character out.
Yeah, she's a sandbox girl.
Yeah.
She's a creative mode person. Loves The Sims, hates having to actually do any of the work to get the money. Yeah. The only game she ever really went into was Mario Brothers, not Brothers, just Mario World or whatever I have, and Luigi's Mansion and stuff like that. That's the only difficult games I've ever actually seen her play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so that's a
I
good
don't know.
way into other stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like we love co-op games together. It Takes Two. Talked about it a couple episodes ago. Loved it. Played it. She would like ask to play it when I got home.
You should
But
play
yeah,
like the Life of Strange series.
we did. We
Yeah.
played the first one together. We still need to do the second one.
I own the second one. I just haven't gone through it fully yet.
Yeah, I we love games like that.
Yeah.
We love games where yeah, where it's like kind of actiony, but you're kind of also laid back the whole time. You're kind of just chilling. Like the end obviously was like super like oh my god, like something's
Yeah.
happening, but like for most of it you're kind of just chilling, kind of just having a good time. Lego
Do you think
games.
she would like Sea of Thieves? Because most of the time you're just sailing and having and hanging out.
I think she would like it. Anytime though that it was actually serious, Then all of a sudden she'll
Mostly
start
just like
squawking.
puzzle.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, she'll
you're on a
probably have a
map,
good
you're
time.
doing a little bit. It's like, okay, that tree's there, that rock's there. Take the shovel here, and then there's actual like full on like mission like things where it's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go spelunking into this mermaid cove.
Yeah, in the Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. No, that's right up my alley. I don't know about her. I feel like every once in a while she likes to like take the controller from me and like be like, "Oh, this is nice," and then get me in trouble and shit, like in a problem, and then just throw the controller at me. I'm like, "Okay, cool. Now I'm about to die." Um,
Julia's done that. She wanted to play God of War, and the first time she got to the first boss fight, controller went to
just
me.
the
And she'd been
That's
playing
so
throughout
funny.
the tutorial, so I'm like, I don't know how to play.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Still beat the boss, but that's
Oh yeah, like, that's just kind of basic gamer instinct. You kind of
yeah,
get that embedded in you.
yeah. You play enough Dark Soul like games, you're like, all right, this is a boss fight. What's my parry? What's my dodge?
It is funny actually. Speaking of that, with Luigi's Mansion,
Yeah,
no idea any of the controls, and Nintendo games are kind of weird with that.
yeah.
And she's like stuck at a part. She gives it to me. I'm like, okay, well, if I have to get up here, there's this guy. And I'm like, well, if I jump on him and then do a double jump and hit him, then he bounces me up, and there you are. And it's like, how? It's like, I don't know. You kind of just you look around for some clues that they're trying to give you and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's pretty much basically useless unless your whole job is figuring out problems. But yeah, a little bit of instinct.
Yeah.
Um,
Things I wanted to mention for Game Pass. We'll also goes back to where our initial topic leading into this was.
yeah, we're bad this episode.
Yeah, but we're
I've
talking
noticed
about it.
that.
We're catching up though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So are you familiar with like fighting games at all?
Some like Injustice, I'm kind of into.
Okay. Have you ever heard of the Guilty Gear series?
No.
It's actually really cool. I think if we got the boys into it, it'd be fun, but competitively online, oof.
Yeah.
But Guilty Gear Strive, that's recently been added, so that gives like a little, I don't know. Considering there's not too many beat 'em up fighters on the Game Pass, I think that's gonna boost the numbers for that, and it's crossplay across the board. So,
Nice.
um, then there's that Wulong, which is kind of another one of those Dark Souls. They got the F122 on there, Soul Hackers. This one that I'm not too sure of what it is. It's like a little pixel art game, army game, Merge and Blade. But as we were talking
Huh?
about before, Atomic Heart newly added. And I haven't touched it. I own the second one, but they added Shadow Warrior 3.
Oh, I've heard some good things.
Yeah. And Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord. Now that's a game I own on Steam and I've played a long time. That is a fun game to lose yourself in. So you start
Yeah,
off. So go ahead.
isn't that the one where you control like an army?
You work your
Or
way
is
up to an army, and then you eventually
yes,
work
yes,
your
yes,
way up to a
yes.
kingdom.
Oh, that's so sick. Yeah.
But you start off as just like, yeah, there's you, your horse, and whatever heritage weapons you got from whatever background you chose.
Tuh.
And you're going off to go rescue your family from bandits. Then you end up finding this treasure that's a piece of this old flag that used to be what you needed to rule a kingdom. So you can either align yourself with a kingdom with that flag and give that flag to them and become like a big part of that kingdom,
Yeah.
or you can use it though. He's like, no, I with this flag, I now start my own kingdom, and you start taking over territory, and then you carve yourself out a piece of this island, or you can go eventually for total domination. But if you go that route, you end up getting the secret circle of knights conspiring against you, trying to take down your kingdom and reclaim the flag for their kingdom.
Tuh. I like it.
But yeah, essentially, big war simulator. And there's castle sieging and everything else like that. They've actually expanded on the multiplayer a fair bit too.
Oh, cool. How would multiplayer look?
Pretty much everyone's doing their part for the siege.
Yeah.
or like they could do like end up doing like a team deathmatch through a city.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
And it's directional combat, right? So it's like if you're choosing whether you're swinging high, left, right,
Yeah.
or stabbing, and you're also choosing what direction you're blocking.
Okay, kind of For Honor-esque, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's the kind of combat I like. Honestly, I've like ever since For Honor, I've always preferred directional combat rather than just light and heavy.
Yeah.
It's more involved, and I like it.
Yeah, I'm kind of more of a combo person
Yeah, that's
or
yeah.
stealth.
I like combos as well. You ever play like the DC Universe Online game?
No.
Okay.
No, but that sounds very familiar. Maybe I have.
Yeah, so essentially
Sorry,
it's all,
continue.
like the Batman, Superman, all that stuff. It's an MMO where you choose whether you're a hero or a villain and you choose your powers, but as you level up, you're unlocking more combos with either your
Oh.
weapons or your abilities, like your whether you have ice abilities or fire abilities.
Yeah.
And you can mix max the two and become like, okay, yeah, I'm a punch guy, but I got fire, or I'm a gadget guy with like psychic abilities and like mind warfare,
Oh, sick.
or
Okay,
like
yeah, I'm
I
looking at
have
this.
guns and do technology if you want to be like, playing like the Red Hood, or if you want to be um Captain America with the shield, and yeah, go for it.
Nice, yeah.
It's an older one.
I'm looking at gameplay of it. Yeah, it is a little bit older, but yeah, I think I did dabble in that a bit when it first came out.
Yeah. They do have some of the older games that one thing that I sincerely love. I don't know how familiar you are with and this is gonna tie in actually no, I'll let you go on about Plus before I drag this out into my new story. It's
Oh no, I'm done with Plus. That was
okay.
it. Yeah.
All right. So all the Persona games, or 3, 4, and 5, which I love Persona, which are known as JRPGs, Japanese role playing games. And they're phenomenal. They're kind of like old school Final Fantasy, but touching on that. So I don't know how far you go back into your knowledge of gaming, but apparently for a long time the term JRPG was discriminatory.
What?
Yeah, we
Oh
had
damn.
we had
Okay.
like old reviewers of like Polygon would essentially crap on games that were JRPGs. Say like this, like that, like how we have like the term Eurojank.
Yeah.
JRPG was used as like Eurojank
No
was.
way.
Yeah, for a very long time. And
Oh
and
no.
apparently there's a lot of like xenophobia back in like the early 90s and 2000s and aughts there that typically would they would like pretty much like hate on like things like the early Final Fantasy games and stuff like that. But a lot of this like, and how they kind of started changing it is like, if you remember like the old Nintendo cartridges, like how they had like that little gold star and certified,
Yeah.
that was just to essentially say, hey, this game's guaranteed to work. Because a
Oh
lot of
no way.
times, like apparently a lot of times back in the old, like before like the PS1 and like a lot of the earlier, before like the early Nintendos, like the Genesis, stuff like that, you weren't always guaranteed the cartridge was gonna work,
Oh damn. Yeah.
or
It's
the game
funny.
wasn't gonna be a buggy mess.
Yeah. Yeah. I always watch those like game ranks videos where it's just like, oh, 10 games that when they came out they were awful.
Yeah. So essentially,
Mhm.
apparently a lot of like Western reviewers, America, were pretty much just crapping on. But a lot of the Western games were also inspired by a lot of things that were happening
Yeah.
over in the East. So it's just
Yeah. They
that weird
take
kind
the
of like, just wanted to touch on that. But like one fella that mentioned this, Yoshida, who is the guy that was in charge of Final Fantasy 14, which has led to a success. It's a bigger MMO than World of Warcraft, which coming from our time,
Yeah, I'm
like
like,
that used to be the
uh,
big holy grail. So
yeah. Isn't it still, or is it not?
it's fallen from grace quite a fair bit.
That's funny. Just because, yeah, the roommate plays it all the time, so I just assume that's the one still.
No, it's actually like third place.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been knocked down a few pegs. Um, and it's still going down. Mostly of all the controversies with Blizzard and everything else going on there.
True. Yeah.
That and just the content's not as good as it used to be. What that they pump
Would it
out.
be? Would it be that Black Desert Online I've heard about?
Black Desert Online, that's a Korean MMO. That
Okay.
still has a very strong, popular fan base, and they come out with like how their whole thing is like they have an expansion, but essentially they come out
Yeah.
with a class that comes out with a whole unique style and color palette. Because it's not like you get to customize your character to the extent of like choosing its gender. Each class
Yeah.
is locked to its like stylized, whether it's woman, male, or whatever people claim it identifies as. I'm not too up to
Yeah.
date on uh or if there's any trans characters. That's more of a Westerner thing than a Korean social topic. Um I find
Yeah.
I don't really hear many eastern sides really carrying on about that as much.
Yeah.
Um that being whatever, but circling back, it's just so Yoshida was eventually questioned how JRPGs had or hadn't advanced as a genre, and he found
Yeah.
himself inadvertently stumbling on an old wound when during the interview during that he says the JRPG first entered people's vocabulary. Some devs in Japan felt they were being made fun of for creating these games and that Western players were compartmentalizing what they were creating into a JRPG box.
Oh, damn.
After, but like Japanese devs weren't setting up to create something called JRPGs. They were just creating RPGs. The
Yeah.
term JRPGs was used by Western media rather than you, because it's like someone in Japan doesn't call it a JRPG; they just call it an RPG,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's like we call, yeah, American cheese and all that.
It's like you could say a thing about like CRPG or like ARPGs, right? Like
Yeah.
Canadian or American, right? But those don't awkwardly restrict their games. They just call it a Western title,
Yeah.
right?
So I guess, yeah, they were just upset because they'd almost, yeah, it's putting
And
them
and it
into a
didn't and it didn't
category.
help. Like there's, I don't know, the people that claims so to be, you know, socially correct and everything else like that. That those same people were very biased against the RPGs coming out of Japan at the time.
Okay.
But that's just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Um, but touching still going on that, so Final Fantasy and Castlevania creators are kind of discussing the rise and decline of a revival of their old Japanese titles. Like they had a huge success with remaking Final Fantasy VII, but the re-release of some of the old Dragon Quest games didn't do as well. The remakes, or I guess the new editions of Legend of Zelda, they've done quite well. But you know, it's one of those things that title has a name. Mario is kind of always guaranteed to sell. Um, but it's interesting how there's this weird marketing thing of like what's going to sell well in the West, and some things that they didn't think was going to sell well at all have sold exponentially well, and then some things that were curated for the West didn't sell well at all.
Yeah, you can never really tell, right?
Yeah,
It's funny because I know like a lot of PlayStation stuff
yeah,
it'll end up just selling in Japan to test
Yeah.
and never even make it to us.
Yeah. But it could be something like, oh yeah, I'd want that, right?
Yeah, it's like, of course I'd want that, but it's like, yeah, it didn't really do well. It's like, well, yeah, because you put it at one place.
Well, since we're a bunch of 90 kids, we can kind of attest to this little bit in the article here. So, like, Final Fantasy became one of the most iconic and popular series on the original PlayStation 2. So by the time the PlayStation 3 came around, like I think it was like Final Fantasy like 13.
Yeah.
And mind, it was a good Final Fantasy. It paid a lot of homage back to what the
Yeah.
roots, but you don't really hear people carrying on about Final Fantasy 13, do you?
No, not at all.
Right? And same thing with like 15. Now 15, I feel like carries a bit more of a spark because it had like it's the boys out on an adventure aspect, so it carried some weight for a bit. Are you familiar with Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah, isn't that the one where they're
Where's the
in
prince and the
this
guys are in the
convertible?
car and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right. So it's like
Oh my God.
everyone knows about that one. Maybe not everyone's played it. Apparently, it's leaps and bounds with like the PC release, and it's reworked a lot of the things in it. It's a very phenomenal title to play now. But when it first released, it was kind of the thing is the game had been changed like 3 times. That game was originally developed for the PS2 and kept getting rewrote and changed up a bit. A lot of it was in the city when things were going when the kingdom was falling when the game originally
Yeah.
came out, and then it became a I don't know a boy's trip to adulthood for the prince kind of thing
I
to grow
love
as a
it.
person. However, have you seen what Final Fantasy 16 is looking like?
No, not at all.
Oh, you got to check out some trailers for it. It's looking phenomenal. It's so Final Fantasy has gone from like the turn based. The remake was a bit more actiony with the option about turning it back to turn based, but it's slowly the series is turning into an action game rather than a turn based RPG.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, but keeping some of its core RPG elements like the items and keeping all the lore and consistent things like if you're a Final Fantasy nerd like me, your ice spell's called Blizzard. You got your, Fire, Fyra, and whatnot, and like how your Thunder becomes the evolution of Thundra, and then you add a G in there and all that thing. But what's interesting with that is so Ifrit, the most commonly known like summon slash kind of boss in the Final Fantasy games, that was always kind of like the test boss, the first boss. They're giving him the bit of the spotlight. So the boss that kept getting beat up the most is now going to be like a main thing, part staple of the game.
I love it.
So, but yeah, but no, around the PS3 it kind of faded out. Now with the PS4 and like some remakes and some other stuff, and like the 15 that came out, it kind of started coming back.
Yeah.
But now a lot of these things are ending up on PC, and so that's expanding the market rather than that. But by the PS3, a lot of Western RPGs started overshadowing the Japanese counterparts, like Elder Scrolls, Dragon Age, Mass Effect. They started to gain massive followings during the PS3 and Xbox 360 era. Right, those are things like when you think PS3 and Xbox 360. Those are the ones that shine when you're thinking about those RPG-like games. The Western RPG, inspired by the Eastern RPGs, started becoming more prevalent. But
Yeah,
all
because
up
they would
until
do all the
before that,
crazy ideas.
they were being made fun of for being the Eastern RPGs like JRPGs.
Yeah. But then Westerns would take the crazy ideas,
Yeah.
dull them down a bit, make them more edible for us.
Yeah. But then we started seeing titles like Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Metal Gear Solid 5 making waves with its return to the series. Now, one thing I think would have done really well for them, but the game ended up being canceled out of Konami. But you know that PT teaser, the one that was supposed to be the next Silent Hill game, even though we now have another one developed that's going to have Norman Reedus, that ended up getting turned into that walking simulator, Stranded, something like that.
Yeah. Death Stranding.
Death Stranding, yeah, that turned into that. Still probably would have preferred the horror game rather than that one, but that's just personal taste on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so essentially the guy that's led the charge for Final Fantasy 14 and one of the most like successes among MMORPGs, like it's taken the number one slot on MMOs. It took
Yeah.
the crown from WoW, which to me is like something was bound to happen, but it's like how like PUBG is like, yeah, we're doing this thing. A lot of people try to copy our formula, but then this whole build up, like you gotta think about how like expansive like the Final Fantasy like following and fan base is. For that to have a proper MMO, now they did have another MMO 11 that didn't work out as well, but like with the 14, like it's still getting crossovers with Capcom, newer games, and even like they're playing a crossover event with the 16, the 15. They already did a crossover event with like other Japanese companies and Western companies are doing crossovers with their MMO. But that was just kind of the tangent I wanted to go on. A little bit about the JRPG and how that's kind of used to be a thing. Well, we grew up always just known as that, but apparently at one point it was a derogatory term really towards their kind of game developing thing. But now I guess it's embraced in some ways, but still
Yeah. It,
reminds them that they're kind of confined in. They're confined in this little box when it comes to the Westerners.
yeah, it's kind of funny because not often, especially nowadays, is it more lenient than it was before.
Yeah. Now
Like
everything's
they're
JRPG inspired, right?
yeah, exactly. Now it's almost embracing something that used to be derogatory
Yeah.
instead of yeah,
But the
now it's
old blood might
completely
not see
opposite.
it that way yet, right? It's still a little bit of a wound for the older
Um,
developers.
True. Yeah. Yeah, if you fought your whole life not to be called that, but now it's like, no, we embrace you. It's like, yeah, but don't say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're still in that weird
It's
time
like that
period.
Bandai Namco. I feel like they embrace that whole solely, like everything that comes out of there, aside from Dark Souls itself, as the publishing wise, like Code Vein that you're talking about on Plus is like that's a Bandai Namco. Dark Souls also Bandai Namco publishing, right?
Oh yeah.
God Eater, that's Bandai Namco publishing. Love the God Eater series. That's like so. Are you familiar with God Eater at all?
I was gonna say I think I might have it just because it was free on PS Plus, but
So
maybe I'm thinking
essentially, God
something
Eater
else.
is edgy anime Monster Hunter, which I kind of like more than Monster Hunter.
Oh, what can I say? They do it well.
Yeah. And then Code Vein is like this whole like Dark Souls vampire twist.
Yeah, yeah, I did look into that a little bit. Still, yeah, this month for me was not a good month for PS Plus, but
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm also super particular with games.
Yeah, but that's just all I kind of wanted to touch on for that. That wraps up all my side of things there. And we've hit that nice little hour and a half mark here that you like.
Yeah, perfect. I think we are going to wrap up this show. Thank you so much for listening. This has been On the Rewind, broadcasting on 101.3 FM. You're just finishing up the extended version that we have on Spotify and anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Adam,
I'm Derek.
and this has been On the Rewind.
Thanks for listening to On the Rewind.